It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for Thursday, the 25th of May. I'm Michael Groff. A bit of a cooling trend will wrap up the week and kick off our Memorial Day weekend, but by the early and middle part of next week, we'll see a warming trend and maybe just a little bit of unsettled weather to go along with that as well. Let's talk about it as we look outside this morning at 6:10 a.m. Scattered clouds in the valley at this time. 81 degrees, a very warm start to the day at Sky Harbor presently. Dew points at 29, humidity 15%, so it's bone dry out there. The winds are calm, the barometer down at 29.62 inches and steady. Temperatures across the area at this hour, mid-70s to low 80s for most of us. 65 the cool spot at Fort McDowell. Satellite shows a swath of mainly high clouds across central and southern Arizona. And on the watch warning map, you're going to get sick of hearing about this. We are in the dry season, so red flag warnings, no surprise, across much of the Southwest, from Las Vegas through northern and eastern Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado. Elsewhere across the country, fairly quiet right now. Later today, some active weather, though. On the convective outlook, we see a slight risk of severe storms, parts of eastern Colorado, southwest Nebraska, western Kansas, a marginal risk for some of the adjacent areas there, to include Denver. Got a marginal risk in South Florida around Fort Myers down to Miami, and another marginal risk zone to include Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, on the mid-Atlantic coast over there. And as far as our weather, let's talk about it. We'll look at the models and see what's happening in more detail. Here's the GFS, the 06Z run, valid at 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time today. Upper trough moving through the western states. We're at the very southern end of that. No dynamics to speak of, no moisture here. It's dry. A few high clouds today. Otherwise, we'll be partly sunny. Call it windy at times, especially in Southern California. You'll see wind gusts around 40 miles per hour out there and some patchy blowing dust here in the valley. Southwesterly winds will pick up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour at times later today. High temperatures this afternoon should top out in the mid-90s, so cooler than what we saw yesterday. Tonight, few clouds, otherwise mostly clear, mild, lows in the mid-60s to low 70s. Tomorrow, cooler still as that trough continues to pass well north of Arizona. High temps in the low 90s. Saturday, sunny skies continue. Highs still in the low 90s. On Sunday, high pressure builds back in. Will be in the low to middle 90s. Monday, high pressure still off the west coast. Some undercutting flow during this time will allow for a little bit of energy to cut off across northern Baja or just off the Baja coast. Meanwhile, high pressure sits over the southern plains, so the flow aloft between those systems will create a mid-level southerly wind here across the southwest states. And that will start to import some moisture. We see slight chances of showers and thunderstorms across New Mexico, Colorado, and eastern Arizona. On Tuesday, we see the same thing happening. All the while, high temperatures are leveling out in the upper 90s to near 100 degrees, which is pretty typical for this time of year. But some increase in surface moisture may take place during this time as well. It's not going to get muggy by any means, but you'll probably notice the air isn't quite as dry as it has been. By Wednesday, the GFS is actually trying to bring a little bit of this moisture further to the west, maybe even infringing upon south central Arizona, for a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms maybe getting close to the valley by then, if this pattern were to verify. Now understand, we are in the heart of the dry season, and it's not unheard of, though, to see maybe a little bit of moisture intrusion in here. We've seen this happen a couple of times over the last 10, 12 years here in late May, but I would say the chances of this are pretty low right now, but we're going to keep an eye on this pattern and see how it ultimately evolves. It's a tricky weather situation, to say the least. Meanwhile, as we head out toward a week from today, this is Thursday, the 1st of June, looks pretty dry as high pressure breaks down again, giving way to another developing trough off the Pacific Northwest coast. High temperatures roughly around normal, I'd say mid-90s to around 100. This is Friday, the 2nd of June. That trough deepens just a little bit. High temperatures still remaining at or maybe a tick below normal, 95 to 100. And then this is the end of the forecast period, Saturday, the 3rd of June. And that looks like a dry weather pattern for us, but the trough continues to deepen, digging down into parts of Nevada. And so we'll see the upper heights coming down a little bit more. Still highs mid and upper 90s. close to 100 in the warmest desert locations, but certainly not getting out of hand. Looking at temperatures through the period off the GFS ensemble, the dip in temperatures this weekend, and then by Memorial Day, we start warming it back up. We'll keep high temperatures roughly in the vicinity of normal, maybe a couple of degrees below that as we go through the forecast period. And that'll do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. Our next video back here tomorrow morning. Thank you so much as always for watching. Be sure to subscribe to us. That way every time we post a brand new video, you'll get the notifications. And have yourselves a great Thursday.